And you're telling me these directors directed a Batgirl movie that was unreleasable? Really? It's kind of crazy. Bad Boys Ride or Die stars Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and is about when their former captain is in corruption, two Miami police officers have to work to clear his name. Here we are, it is the fourth Bad Boys movie. Do you guys realize that first movie came out in 1995? And it's 2024 and we're finally getting this fourth film. After the third one came out, which was a huge shock of how good it was and did very well, it's not too shocking we got another Bad Boys movie. But hey, if Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are still in these movies, I'll still see them because from the trailers, it looked like another fun Bad Boys movie. And I'm here to tell you, with the summer season actually being here with no more schools, this is clearly a movie to go see in the movie theaters this summer. Bad Boys Ride or Die is a fun enough movie, in my opinion, that you can easily get a big crowd and have a good time. Because I went and saw this IMAX today, and there was probably about 40 at least people in my auditorium, and my crowd was so into this movie. Beginning with the positives is, of course, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Their chemistry has never left since 1995, and I've always liked the Bad Boys movies. I think my favorite might be the second one, but that third one was damn good. And going into this one, they work together so damn well. I mean, you honestly could make the argument they are the best cop duo ever on screen. Honestly, like, they are just that good together. Their comedic timing between each other is great. Martin Lawrence does actually like steal this movie, in my opinion. He's very funny in this movie, and what they do with Will Smith's character is actually kind of like adulting him. I don't want to spoil anything for this movie, but they both give these two characters moments of character development that was kind of needed for this franchise, honestly, because after the third one with Will Smith and his now son, this movie does feel like a part 2 to part 3, and what we're seeing with our two main leads is they're getting older, they're changing. Will Smith has become more of a person that is going through some stuff, and Martin Lawrence has something happen to him that completely changes his outlook on life. Again, no spoilers, but these are things in this specific movie and story that change their characters enough that I like to see. I mean, again, you're there for their comedic humor, they're there for the action, and you're gonna get that. The action in this movie is very fun. My favorite action scene was actually probably the helicopter action sequence. There's some really, really cool camera work in that scene, the cinematography in that scene, the sound design. Like, the helicopter scene was probably my favorite action scene, and I really like the third act setting. I don't want to spoil that, but the setting of the third act action piece was really cool and different. Like, I was like, all right, I like this. This is cool. It's fun. There's a certain animal that is in play in this scene, and I really enjoyed that. But again, this movie just has that like energy of like big bulking action. The camera work is just all over the place and really cool styles in certain scenes that in this movie really just propels this franchise into keeping it up with the energy, keeping it still in 2024. I mean, we're finally getting this fourth movie, and after all that this movie's been to is because the directors were doing a Batgirl movie and it got completely just scrapped away. And I watched this movie, I'm like, these guys can handle action movie. I would love to see what they would have done with Batgirl, but for this movie, they killed it. They really did a good job in the action department. I will say there are some very funny scenes. There's one scene in particular with a certain character. My crowd could not stop clapping and laughing, and I was one of them. I don't really clap in movie theaters, but when the whole auditorium is clapping, I joined in. You'll know what scene it is. It's a certain character gets their moment to shine, and it's an awesome scene. Now, when it gets towards my negatives, I will go ahead and say this. I've seen the TV quote saying it's the best Bad Boys yet, and I've seen a few people on Twitter say that. I'm not going to say that, actually. I think Bad Boys 2 and 3 are better than this one, because my biggest issue with this movie is I feel like we've gotten to the point now where we know what to expect, and the writers of this movie did that. They did it in a way where the story has these two characters, like I said, deal with stuff personal that I actually can feel like can give them good development in their character, but the movie goes for more of the jokes, which some of them work, but some of them don't for me. Like, there's a joke with Martin Lawrence saying he didn't want to say this to Will Smith's character, and he does it a few times about something that happened to Martin Lawrence, and it kind of got dry real quick for me, and I just found it not that funny. I mean, the first joke when he says to him about, like, I didn't want to tell you this, but he says something, that was pretty funny, but he does it again and again, and it just, I don't know, for me, it just didn't really work, and I feel like they didn't give any tension to this movie. The bad guys in this movie are your basic bad guys. They do stuff that's very much like, ooh, but like, the movie just feels like, hey, we're the fourth Bad Boys movie. We know what to expect. We're going to deliver that to you in very fun ways, and I got to respect that. But I think the story itself feels just very easy and cheesy and a little bit over the top at times. When I said the camera work was really good, I do agree with that, but I will say sometimes it is style completely overtakes the scene. It's like, this might be a really cool scene, but we're going to get a really nice camera angle of this person typing, and then we got a really cool drone shot, which there was a few cool ones, but then there were times where like, it felt like style over substance. This movie has cameos from people who are on social media and other people, and I'm like, all right, so like now you're adding in cameos and stuff like that. Like, it just, I don't know, like those first couple movies, especially the third one, like had a like good story, good characters, and good enough action and set pieces and humor. This one just took it over the top a little bit, and I just felt like it kind of felt really over the top. Like, there's a scene where there's an action scene and Martin Lawrence is trying to eat jelly beans, and they played like this song and he's like in slow-mo eating it, and then he's like trying to drink a drink and you see him hit his tongue and he's like all like that. It's just, I get the joke, but I just feel like that doesn't feel like his character from the first three movies, and people are gonna be like, well, there's something that happens to him in this movie that changes his character, but you see what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like they're just trying to amplify things in this one because it's the fourth one, you know what you're expecting, here you go. And in the end, it's a fun movie. It seriously is. My crowd was laughing, they clapped, and my crowd was really into this movie. I enjoyed watching this movie. It is a fun time at the movie theater, and they still got it, man. I'm gonna give Bad Boys Ride or Die a B-. I will say my favorite joke in the movie is actually like the last scene in the movie. I thought that was the funniest scene in my opinion. It was very, very funny, and my crowd was really laughing hard. So honestly, the last scene, in my opinion, is the funniest scene. But it's a good movie, guys. Again, I don't think it's the best Bad Boy movies, but Bad Boys 2 is like, I probably will say that one, but that last one, man, it was pretty damn good. Anyway, guys, you guys enjoyed this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.